Welcome to the AI Marketing for Coaches Masterclass. I'm your co-host, Rob Cressy. I'm super excited to have each of you here. Colin, how you doing today?
A little hot here in the north of the UK because the sun is shining, which is not a usual thing, Rob. But other than that, excited, man.
All
And
right,
you?
cool. Speaking of excited, one of the things that you're going to learn about Colin and I in the community that we run is we love engagement. So let's start with this. We're going to be covering three things today. Number one, what we're going to call the hub and spoke strategy for how you can build your content. Number two, what in the world are you talking about in your content so that it creates what we call client attention winning content. We want to grab the attention of our clients, and then we want to turn that into conversations for ourselves. What does that look like, and what is the process? And then lastly, something that we call the Content Lighthouse process. So when we know the strategy for how we're doing it, and we understand how are we speaking to the pain points, the obstacles, the challenges of our ideal clients, then we're going to say, all right, how can we take one piece of content and repurpose it in a variety of different ways in a way that serves us? So it's very much an organic strategy, but it comes from your heart in the best way possible. Let's start with a hub and spoke strategy. And the reason why I thought it was important to start here is because when I worked with you originally, this was one of the very first things we worked on together, is having a understanding of the world of content that you're building for yourself that are assets, not just things in the background that go post one day and they're gone the next.
Yeah. So the idea here is that the goal of using AI in our marketing as coaches is to essentially help us to increase our impact so that we can serve more clients, so that we can grow what it is that we're doing from an impact perspective and also from a revenue perspective as well. And so through this lens, we look at, well, how can AI help us to do just that? And the idea of the hub and the spoke, and let me bring the slides on and I'll show you what this looks like. The idea of the hub and spoke is that we essentially create what I call content with intent. And we're going to dive into this as well soon. There are some quite advanced concepts in here, but we're just going to keep it super simple. And we're also going to we're going to pop the hood open and play inside of AI directly so that you get to see how this works. The hub and spoke concept works like this. So a bicycle wheel has a central hub and it has spokes that come off of it that create the entire wheel. When you put content out into the world, we take a similar approach. So if you are a leadership coach, then writing a article about leadership or creating a video or creating a podcast would be a standalone piece of content, right? The hub and spoke approach would take the central theme of what's important to your clients in order for them. Most important marketing question, what do our clients need to believe in order to say yes? What are those things? What are the critical things that become the hubs? These hubs become what we call pieces of pillar content for you in your world because they guide readers towards your service as signposts along that pathway. That's the hub, this central themed piece of content. And then the spokes are the supporting elements of that. So if let me share the screen and show you visually what I'm talking about. Let me just, if I do that, Rob, give me a thumbs up. You can see the screen there.
Yep, you are. It's showing the can, but not the full screen.
Good.
So if you want to hit the play on it, there you go.
Yeah. So, we're going to look at hub and spoke. We're not doing ChatGPT 101 here, by the way. This is a little more advanced. There will be very rudimentary stuff coming up as well, but not inside of this call, just an FYI. This is focused on that question of how do we use AI to increase our impact through our marketing and our content. So the hub and spoke is this idea that we create central themed pieces of content that become pillar pieces of content. If you think of what's going on in the, you can see it. Thank you. Sorry, I just got distracted with a chat there. If we think about how you are viewed in the world and how people find you, then this would be your IP, your intellectual property. This is your interpretation of what it is that you do. This is your unique interpretation of exactly that. And that becomes the content that stands out in the world as what we call lighthouse content. I'm going to get into that again as well soon. And it becomes an ecosystem for you, for people to find you and your services consequently as a result. So it starts with them being able to see what you're all about. Think about your favorite author. How do you know that person? Because they wrote a book, right? That's their IP. We're talking about the equivalent in content. What is your IP? What have you got out in the world that tells people what it is you do, how you can help them, and how you can serve them? Take a candid look at your world, your ecosystem, and see what that looks like. And this is where this approach of hub and spoke can be so powerful. Any questions there before I show you how it works?
Colin, something to add here, and I just dropped this into the chat for everyone. So relating to this, and I'm going to try and simplify this. Do you currently have a top 5 pieces of content that you could send to a prospective client that would lead them to working with you? And it's a very simple question. It's one that I actually audited for myself, because there's a difference between us just creating content, or, as Colin said, content with intent, where we're speaking to the chain of beliefs or the things that they need to believe in order to work with you. And Colin, I think one thing that could help here is, can you give a simple example of hub and spoke? So what would be a hub? So if you were to say, take leadership coach, you can even just use your own brand, or unlimited, whatever you want. What would a hub, and then what would the spokes look like? So if we were to actually speak this so you can see an example.
Yeah, of course. Let's do that. So if you're from the UK, you'll get this reference. Here's one I prepared earlier. If you're not from the UK, it's a Blue Peter TV show for kids, right? So this was a chat I did this morning with AI. This is with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, you type text in, you get text out, right? It's really, really simple. And I asked the AI, I said, I am a transformational AI marketing coach. I help coaches master AI, self-development, and AI marketing to grow their business. We focus on generative AI, such as ChatGPT, create a keyword cluster. That's important because that's how it understands what the hub and spoke thing is, keyword cluster, around the top 3 pains my audience face. So it suggested 3 pains: difficulty integrating AI into business. And this will be interesting. Do these resonate with you? Are these your frustrations? Are these your pains as a coach? Lack of understanding and knowledge about AI, and challenges scaling your business with AI marketing. So this is what it suggests are the 3 main pains. They would be the hubs, right? So they would be the hubs off of which we would then create spokes. So after that process, where it's then suggested what the these spoke topics, themes would be, I then asked the AI I said, hey, now create article titles for each of these suggestions, make the titles catchy and optimized for search and click through using best practice in SEO and conversion marketing. So now we've got a whiteboard of ideas of potential topics that we know speak directly to the questions our ideal clients have. So this becomes the precursor, the starting point to you creating pillar content around what it is that you do, your area of expertise.
Colin, you said something that I believe is important and we need to highlight here. You said a whiteboard of ideas for us to create from. And in coaching and being a creative leader for more than the last decade, one of the biggest questions that I hear often from clients is that, well, what if I run out of ideas, or what do I even create about? And this is actually podcasting 101. When a lot of people come to me and they're like, Rob, I just don't know if I could do a weekly podcast. There's just not enough for me to talk about. And the key to unlocking all of this is to give yourself the gift of 15 or 20 minutes or an hour if you want to cook with ChatGPT and just write down as many ideas as you can. Because where we can also often feel stuck or overwhelmed is, I don't know what to do next. So you've got that feeling of anxiety in your body, which I've consistently felt for a long time. And instead of just looking at a blank screen and trying to use an epiphany in your mind, all you do is you open up your hub and spoke ideas document. You have a list of 10, 20, 50, whatever it is, and then just choose the one that resonates with you. And oftentimes, the simplest action is the thing that is going to create the next level of momentum for you. Because imagine right now, and if you don't have this, this is an action item. Go and write down 20 ideas all around your business and what are the challenges likely on the mind of your ideal clients. And then once you have that, at any point when it's time for you to create content, you just go, oh, let me pop this open and choose one of them. But Rob, which one do I choose? Doesn't matter. Go ahead and do it, because one is always greater than zero. Very simple thing, but the best in the world, we always have a resource that helps us get into action faster.
And here's an idea. What if we asked ChatGPT to help with the ideation?
Yes. Colin, Sarah had a question. Can you define what you mean by send to your prospective clients? All right.
Yes.
So think about this in the world of coaching, and this is probably the case for many of us. There's the ideal world. Somebody lands on a landing page of yours and they just immediately click checkout. They're like, oh, baby, boom, I'm going to drop $900 or $10,000 or $50,000 to work with us. I never even talked with them. Sure sounds amazing. There's a lot of no love and trust that would have to get to that point. On the flip side, if we're going to reverse engineer how clients actually work with us, traditionally it's via a conversation or an experience like this where you can feel us and you can hear us. So to send to your prospective clients, number one might be the piece of content, the top 5 that you have can attract the people into your world. And we're going to get to this in the Content Lighthouse process, because number one, if we're doing this with organic, all right, we're putting this on our blog post, we're doing some SEO optimization. Don't get overwhelmed by it. All simple stuff. And now all of a sudden, a small trickle of people are coming to you. So I'll give an example. Right now, and I'm probably going to publish this today, I'm publishing a piece of content around, I just created my personal manifesto. And it's something that was part of the growth game that we're playing in Unlimited. And I just went and looked at the data around the search term personal manifesto. Well, anybody who would click on an article about creating your personal manifesto sees my manifesto and the step-by-step for how I created it, and you can too. Do you think that is something that would get someone to say, click, let's have a virtual coffee with Rob to see what the next level is? Yes. So there's the front end. On the flip side, let's say one of you after this call right now slides into Colin and I's DMs. It's like, Rob, this was unbelievable. I'm brand new to ChatGPT. I don't know anything about it, but I want to grow because I'm a go-giver and I'm a leader and I know where this is going. What are Colin and I are going to send you? I'm going to send you their ChatGPT guide for beginners, how to become a 0 to hero in 2 seconds. Boom. You read that and you say, thank you so very much, Rob, for 1, being a go-giver, 2, leveling up my knowledge. And then it becomes, hey, would you like to have more conversations or be part of our community? So sending to prospective clients is more about communication with anybody who is interested in you and what you do and what you can do to help them in their journey. Colin, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just that. So what I mentioned in passing before, the most important question that we can ask as coaches looking to get prospective clients through our efforts in marketing is, what do people need to believe in order to say yes? So in a previous life, I started a PhD in the psychology of biobehavior in services, in selling services. So the most important part in that process is the journey that we go on to buy something. And it's not a snap decision. We don't just drop it into our basket. We don't spend 5, 10, 20 or more $1,000 in the way that we would buy a tin of beans, right? In the supermarket. We go through a process, a very defined process. And it's our duty for those people that we know we can serve to provide information that facilitates that journey. So when Rob says the 5 pieces of content that you've got, it's the pieces of content that support that journey, because nobody's going to meet you today and go, yeah, here you go. Here's $5,000. Here's $10,000. I'm buying your program. We need and do business that we have emotional connection with. And so how do we create that emotional connection when we're not physically in person? This is a great example, because we now, you guys that are on camera, we're kind of looking each other in the eye. Human to human connection is happening here because of the beauty of the technology. How does that happen in your world when people don't have the benefit of that? So what is the content that you've got that guides them along that journey? That's what we talk about with this content with intent, and the pillar content, and those pieces that move people towards saying yes and knowing that your services is the solution to their problem.
So Colin, we're going to move this thing to number 2. And actually, Katie had a question. Are you going to give examples of the exact prompts that generate useful results in ChatGPT? So I'm going to give the very simple version of this. One of the things that Colin has created, he's got an AI prompt vault. No matter what you're looking to create in your business, from copywriting to SEO to creating lead magnets to offers, whatever it is, we've got prompts for that. But I want to drop the idea that somehow we need a super prompt in order to do this. I'm just going to casually do this as if I am each of you, and we're going to make this as simple as possible. I'm a world-class self-development coach. Very important. Always use world-class, because there's a difference between self-development coach and world-class coach. It knows this. Who I work with. So now we're giving it the context of, here's the definition. It's important to me that I create content with intent. Content that speaks their language and what they're looking to create in your life. You give me the top 10 pain points of my ideal customer. Include a supporting sentence of the language they would use in bullet points. So one of the things that you'll pick up from Colin and I, or being in our community, is the little inches of language when you're using AI and ChatGPT that can infinitely create better results or new possibilities for you. So one of my favorite ones as it relates to identifying the pain points, and look at this. Any of you can do this right now, because just replace who I am with who you are, replace my demographic with your demographic, and you just say, give me the top 10 pain points of my ideal customer. But I wanted it in a supporting sentence of the language they would use, because now we can get inside of their head. So overwhelmed from juggling multiple responsibilities. I only hear that nonstop. Man, I feel like I'm constantly pulled in 100 directions. It's taking a toll on my energy and focus. Sound familiar to anybody here? Lack of time for personal growth and self-care. I mean, we hear this all. I know I need to invest in myself, but I can't seem to find the time between running my business and managing everything else. And like, boom, you hear this and you're like, this is what I do. This is my ideal clients. So like Colin said, we could very easily say, this is unbelievable. Help me create 5 ideas for number 1.
Just while Rob's typing that, the thing to realize in this is it won't serve you to go around like I've got a vault with 2,500 prompts in it, right? That you can plug and play into ChatGPT. That won't serve you. Like us giving you prompts won't serve you. The thing that will serve you the most is for you to show up and have these conversations with the AI with things that are relevant to you. I'm looking to, Katie's just mentioned in the chat, I'm looking for prompts to assist with responses to social media comments. So type that into the chat as a starting prompt. Type some of the comments that you're getting into social as a starter and begin the conversation with the AI. So I just wanted to add that in there just to give you a bit of a nudge to play with this for yourself. So yes, we can share prompts, but that's not going to serve you. Sorry, Rob.
This is great. I want to create a blog post about number 1. Can you give me 5 ideas, bullet points? 5 strategies to overcome entrepreneurial overwhelm and reclaim your focus. That can be the blog post. And we'll get to the Content Lighthouse process, but you look at any one of these and you're like, man, does this resonate with me? The art of saying no, how to protect your time and energy as a busy entrepreneur. So what I would logically do, at least the way that I operate, I would turn on my camera and I would live stream. I'm like, I'm going to do a podcast around the art of saying no. And I'm going to share a story about saying no to my self-limiting belief that I need to work from 9:30 until 10:30 before this webinar, because that's what I'm supposed to do, instead of giving myself the gift of going to hot yoga for an hour to center my mind and work on my self-care, because I also understand that I have time freedom, because if I don't have time freedom, the rest of the dominoes don't work. And boom, I share something like that. I put it into a structured order. And this is the simplest example of how any of you can just say, here's the 10 pain points. Here's one of these. Now you just go down each one. And to make this simple, because I know Colin and I are both doing this, I just do one giant foundational pillar piece of content a week. That's it. I don't create 30 different things. It might just be the art of saying no. Here's the video. Here's the podcast. Here's the blog post. I can throw something on social. And then, of course, I will share it with the community and my coaching clients. So does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions around this, or where there's a lack of clarity right now?
Yeah, there's a question from Catherine about how ChatGPT creates these things for us. And I just want to speak to that real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
Because it's a super simple answer. The beauty of this tool, and the reason I literally would be fishing around the room for the top of my head, because it would be exploded off around AI and ChatGPT in particular, is its nature of generative AI. So it's trained on the corpus of human knowledge. It knows all things, not all things, but it knows most things about most things, right? When you ask it a question, it doesn't just spew out and regurgitate the encyclopedic knowledge that it has. It's called generative AI for that reason. It generates brand new connections, and it makes connections in between those different points of data based on its analysis of what you've asked it. So this is the real magic. It begins to sound like we were asking a human, because it's making those internal connections in a similar way to our human brain. So if Rob was to go into a new chat and ask that same question, he wouldn't get the same results. That's the beauty of it. It's unique every time. It might be similar, it might be themed, and this is where your ability to program the AI is what I call your superpower. So the better you're able to program, the better results you'll get. Otherwise, you're just going to get generic results every time. But ultimately, it's unique, Catherine. Hopefully that answers your question.
All right,
you're fine to use it.
All right, Colin, cooking on something new. So we're going to yes and this. We know here's the pains that they're in. But there's something that I learned from Colin that I love called prison to paradise. And it's a very simple exercise each of you can do on your own or with ChatGPT. And the pains that we just had, we can list all of those as the prisons they are in. So when we look at this right here, I'm in the prison of overwhelm, the prison of lack of time, the prison of inconsistent work-life balance, the prison of being burnt out. Okay, and we're just going to keep the first one, being overwhelmed. So if your ideal client is currently in the state of overwhelm, what is the paradise that you are looking to help them with? That is the transformation. So I just created a simple prompt. I want to create my prison to paradise for my customer journey, because in the content that we're sharing, it's about creating that bridge from where they are to where they want to go. And we can help be that Sherpa and guide. So what is the prison they are in, and what is the paradise or end goal that I can take them to? My goal in this is to create the bridge from where they are to where they want to be. And I'm going to do that via content. So once again, it gives you the prison. Your ideal client is trapped in a state of constant overwhelm, feeling like they're always playing catch up. You can notice the specific language that you can then include in your content. Hey, are you feeling ... And we're not out here looking to create the world is ending type content. We're just looking to empathize with our client. Side note, I know that's true for many of us who are coaches. We've gone through these transformations ourselves because we've all struggled with these things, which is why we're qualified to help. On the flip side, what's the desired state? Harmonious balance, and they're in control of their time and energy. Overwhelmed, harmonious balance, time and energy. Cool. What is that bridge that we can create from where they are to where they want to go? And this is Colin's hub and spoke. So you sit here and the content can be time management strategies, delegation, mindset shifts, creating boundaries around self-care. So we really wanted to open your aperture to how much more possibility exists for you very simply. Like when I worked with Colin, 4 years ago on this, ChatGPT didn't exist. This was my action item for like the entire week where I come back, I'm like, all right, Colin, I just spent the last 7 hours creating my prison to paradise. What's next? Now that's done in 3 minutes. Anything you want to add, Colin, or any questions here?
Just like to give a bit of context. So the thing here, we talk about how can AI help me increase my impact, get more clients, serve more people. And the definition of marketing is identifying and satisfying needs profitably. That's the UK CIM definition. So what are those needs that you solve? That's the prison state that Rob just identified. And how do you solve them? That's your solution. How do you solve them? Not that person over there or that coach or this way of fixing these things. How do you solve them in your unique way? That's the prison and the paradise states. So the beautiful thing that we've got at our fingertips here is the ability to explore and play with the AI to see what that is for us. Who is that ideal client? What are those prison states? What are those paradise states that I get them to after we've worked together for 3 months, for 12 weeks, for 90 minutes, whatever it might be. And when you're clear on that, all of these content ideas will come flooding out, because everything now that you're saying and doing in the world is in perfect alignment with how you serve your clients. It's like magic. It's not magic, but it's like magic, because now you're doing the work that as a marketing coach, this would take me 1 month to identify the ideal client research, 1 month to do the offer creation and the ideation around what we should be creating. There's 2 months of work, and I can literally sit in ChatGPT and do that in one single coaching session now, because of what this AI allows you to do. So this is what we're trying to get across, right? It's not about the prompts. It's about you being inspired and seeing that potential so that you can go explore for yourself.
And you know what, Colin? I was that person. 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month. And this is actually why we created our unlimited community. No joke, because we have these conversations and we know, oh, you can just accelerate the speed in which you do this by, 1, having access to the right people who are having these sort of conversations. But 2, we've experienced this the old way versus the new way. And Jason, I agree with what you say there. We're not saying ChatGPT is the solution for everything. It is our creative assistant. It is our creative partner. Because Colin, I'm going to put a bow on the one word you said that is so important for everybody: clarity. We know these things about our business, but how many of you have it all in your head and it's not written down in your content? It's not in your second brain or in Evernote somewhere. Why? Because that's why I want you to be able to give me the 5 pieces of content that you have that can help me work with you. Because now we've got something tangible in the world that you can do. And I'm going to drop the link. If any of this is vibing with you guys, you can join us there. So Colin, let's go to the next part of this here in the Content Lighthouse process, because what we fundamentally believe is the bigger the dreams, the deeper the foundation. So these concepts are building your foundation, and they stack on top of each other like Lego blocks. So we've got our hub and spoke strategy, so we understand the ecosystem that we're building. We got the hubs of the most important things, and then the spokes of the things that support that journey. Okay, well, what in the world am I going to be talking about? Here's the pains that our audience or our ideal member is going through. Here's our paradise. Cool, we can create that bridge there. Once again, it could be another document. it was, because we work with Colin, a 1 month document, a 1 month document, a 1 month document. And now we're going to get to the entire process from start until finish. And what's so important about all of this is the clarity that you feel in what you're creating as it relates to time well spent, harmony, doing what you love. Because Colin and I both believe we do not have to do anything we do not love to try and get results in our business. This can be done in a way that is light, easy, fun, and full of love. So, Colin, how in the world are we doing this?
We're not going to make it hard. We're going to make it light, easy, and fun. So how do we do that? Well, you are the uniqueness about what it is that you do. So let's share that in a way that's light, easy, and fun for you. I didn't always love, but now I love turning the camera on and just sharing those things that I feel excited about to share, like that kid in the snow, right? I'm like, whoa, look at the snowman I've just made. I'm literally bouncing in my seat with AI and what's possible here. So I love talking about it and sharing. What's that thing for you? What is it that lights you up that you would like to share? Let that be your guide here. Let you focus on the energy and excitement of what it is that you want to share, that voice that you want to have in the world. That's your starting point. That's where you will breathe this life energy into everything that you create. And then we're going to talk about how we can make it light, easy, and fun in a way that serves you and helps you to serve more clients. We call it the Lighthouse content creation process. We're going to go into that in a second. But just before I do, we said about people buying from people that they know, like, and trust. There was some work done by a guy that you might have heard of called Aristotle 2,500 years ago in a work called Rhetoric, the Art of Persuasion. And it's actually the foundation of all of marketing. It's the pillars, the cornerstones of how we make a decision, how we become persuaded that this is the best option for us. It's linked to what we've been talking about today. So I'm going to share it real quick. And it's called pathos, which is emotional connection. It's ethos, which is credibility and trustworthiness. And it's logos, which is the rational reasoning side of our brain that justifies that decision. Pathos, emotional connection, is 80% of our decision to buy. Not when we're buying a tin of beans, but when we're buying something that's significant, something that has a high emotional attention worthiness. So if we're buying a car, if we're buying coaching services, that's a high investment, a high involvement purchase. So we have to have that emotional connection. We have to believe that this will get us to where we want to go, that it will solve our problem. And so the idea in all of this is that the reason I mention it is because the energy with which you create this lighthouse content will mean it will stand or fall on that level of energy. If you imbue you in this content, like, people will feel it, people will get it. Hopefully you can feel my energy beyond the words that I'm sharing with you right now. This is the same for the content you create. So this is a mechanical process that's very easy and simple to follow, but without that lifeblood, it will be empty and hollow. Okay, so that's really important. How are you creating that pathos, that emotional connection in the content that you're sharing? So
Colin, how about this? Everybody share in the chat right now. What's the thing that lights you up? You think about your business, what energizes you? And I'll get this party started. What energizes me is each of you. Literally what we are doing right this second is my dream. I've always loved helping people. I have a goal of helping 10 million people. I've always wanted to run my own community of like-minded people and bring together where we can just share and create and help each other and do so much positive impact in the world. So it's no surprise that this is what my marketing and messaging looks like, and I radiate that. So what is that for you? Share that in the chat right there, because that's what we want to shine the light on more of. And Colin, I think you can go ahead and share your screen if you want to walk through the Content Lighthouse process. We got about 17 minutes right now, so let's make sure to leave a little time at the end for Q&A.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. So I'll just go through this real quick. The idea is that we take a single piece of content. serve more people if you stay in your zone of genius, right? And you do the things that you are best at. This is what AI empowers us to do. It empowers us to serve more people by being and living in, staying in that zone of genius. The AI allows us to magnify, amplify that impact, if you like, by using these mechanisms and these processes. So that energy is the thing. That's why I keep emphasizing it and re-emphasizing it and saying it again and again. That's the thing that will make all of the difference, not this process. This process alone won't work. So that's critical, a critical caveat. Essentially, I like to talk to the camera. So I'll record a video, and then that single piece of content becomes a artifact, an asset that you can then repurpose. So if I show you this here, this slide real quick, I want to show you it in action, just rather than just show you these slides. So the idea is that you create a single piece of content. In my world, that piece of content would live on YouTube as a YouTube video. It would live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as a podcast. And then it would live on my blog as a blog post, a search optimized blog post. And then the video itself would be broken down into shorts using software called CapCut.com. And this will identify what we call magic moments in the copy. Hey, have you thought about da, da, da? Like, what are those magic moments? It does the job of that for you. It will create little sub 60-second videos in a flash using this AI technology, right? So that's the overarching process. And I just wanted to show it you in action. So this is one of my blog posts. I record the video, I upload it into CapCut. CapCut's free, by the way. CapCut creates a transcript of the blog, and then I have a text file of every word I've said in that blog, in that article, in that content piece. The content piece is then uploaded into AI. So this is Gemini right now. I'm just showing you this as an example. It's an alternative to ChatGPT. And I tend to use all of them because I love playing in the candy store with this stuff. But this is a Gemini example. Same thing with ChatGPT. This is the prompt that I use to create a search optimized blog post from nothing more than a transcript. Now, here's why this works. If you go into AI and say, write me a blog post about, what is this one? The Coach's AI Toolkit, Master ChatGPT for Program Design and Session Creation. If I go into Chat or Gemini or Claude and say, write me a blog post on this topic, Chat will generate AI generated content, right? We know it does that. We've played with that so far. The difference here is this is human first content. These are my words that I've spoken with my energy. Maya Angelou say people forget what you say, they forget what you do, they never forget how you make them feel. So this is why I'm keep emphasizing the energy of what it is that you're creating. The more that you can put that into the content, the more powerful, the more resonant that content will be. So this is taking human first content and then it's adding AI magic to that human first content. So that's the difference. That's the key difference here. That's why my site is climbing in its organic rankings week on week on week. People who are posting AI content out there at scale, their sites are being penalized and they're seeing traffic dropping 25%, 30% week, month on, because Google's penalizing AI only and AI first content. So that's just something to be aware of. This is why this process is unique. And it works like clockwork. It really does, because it feeds in to the Google algorithm of EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. How are you expressing that through your content? You can only do that if you are in that content, if you are the voice of that content. You can't expect AI to replicate that for you. It just can't. And you'll get penalized for that. So this is why this process is so powerful. So you can see here, just real quick, I've just dropped the prompt that is in the presentation slides. I'll bring it up again in a second. And the prompt essentially has a structure. Let me grab it. Give me a sec. So it has a structure here. Identify key themes and SEO keywords in my transcript. Because remember, I'm just talking off the cuff, like whatever I'm feeling in this moment right now. And then AI is then making sense of it for me. I'm not going off a script. I'm not being prescriptive. I'm just sharing what I feel is important for me to share in this moment related to that topic that I've done from that initial cluster research, right? So then it will craft a search optimized blog post that follows a very distinct format: a quote, an introduction, key takeaways, expanded sections, and then a call to action. What do we want them to do next? That's really important, because if you bring people to your blog, so what? You need to bring people to your blog and then have them sign up for a newsletter, download a lead magnet, and take that next step towards knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. That pathos, ethos, logos that we spoke about before. So that's the prompt. And then let me just come back to that. And this is the output from ChatGPT. So the Coach's AI Toolkit, it's given it a title. Well, I gave it the title in this instance. So it's taken some of my words and created a quote. It's created a summary of the text. It's created the key takeaways. So this is what it highlights as those magic moments, right? The core themes of what I've been speaking about in that monologue. Then it expands on some of these themes, and then it'll have next steps. Not next steps necessarily as a CTA. And I do this deliberately because I want my content to be helpful first. I want my content to serve you first. And then if you feel like you want to continue that journey with me, the CTA is there for you to take that next step. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. So have that step there for when those people are ready to take that step. Rob and I keep putting this unlimited domain in the chat and mentioning it to you. And of course, we would love you to join our wonderful community to do this twice a week, every week. But that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is to serve you. And then in serving you, you come to the decision that, oh, I might look at this. This might be interesting for me. We can't make that decision for you, okay? You can't make that decision for your clients. So adopting this approach really is magical in that sense. It's magical. So my process would be to copy that, paste it into WordPress, and not quite hit publish, because I would likely go, all right, I'll read it and I'll go, no, I don't like that. This is the iteration part, right? I say, I don't like the bit that you've mentioned about the power of collaboration. Let's speak more about X. I remember talking about or whatever it might be, right? I've done this was a while ago, so I don't remember. But I would be iterating and asking the AI to stay true to the transcript. That's important. Stay true to the transcript and elaborate on X, elaborate on Y. Literally, this is a few minutes that we're talking about here, right? So within a few minutes, that content is then copied and pasted into my WordPress, and it gets published onto my website. The whole Lighthouse content creation process takes 1 to 2 hours per week. So this is an example. You can see the structure now, right? Quote from me, introductory text, the YouTube video gets embedded, key takeaways, here's what we talked about in this article, expand on some of those things. And then this is my play. This is the initial expansion. This is me playing with the expansion. Oh, well, I'd like to talk more about ideal client profile, because I know that's important to my clients. And then taking action, your next steps, opportunity to opt in, lead magnet, join the unlimited community. Can you see how there are pathways now for people who don't know who I am, who've never met Colin before, to get wowed by some really helpful content, whether they want to read it or listen or watch it, and then come into Colin's world for the next part of the process to come. That's the Lighthouse content creation process. It's massively powerful. Rob?
Here's what might be on the mind of a lot of different people. I am not comfortable on video. I have never done this before. The video is stranger danger. Well, when you want to be the best in the world and you want to create impact with others, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Everybody started at zero when it relates to being on camera, because Colin, you were that exact same person, and then you met me. And I was like, Colin, I've done this 1,000 times. And you're like, I don't think I can create a podcast. And I was like, well, you're going to throw that in the trash, because what we want to do is to help you shine. And you have these conversations with your clients. You have these conversations with yourself. You know this like the back of your hand. And it's actually one of the biggest blessings and challenges for coaches that I see. We are so good at what we do. You put anybody in front of us, boom, we can create a transformation in minutes. But then it comes to the business side of things, and somehow there becomes this incongruency there, where the amazing you as the coach isn't the same person as the amazing you as the marketer, the revenue generator, or the client creator. So leveraging video, and this is just straight out of my client playbook, you don't have to take what we say and do it, but what we are recommending for every single client is video. Why? How is everybody consuming things now? Video. What's the second largest search engine in the world? YouTube. So you can say, I'm going to do a 5-minute vignette on one specific topic, or as Colin said, you can do the short form content. This can be as much or as little as you want. So my encouragement, don't get overwhelmed. This is a playground, because one of the reasons why we created Unlimited and it's named this, I'm an expert at all things content creation. I'm a trained host. I'm hired by brands to host shows and create shows for them. So if you're sitting there at zero, you don't have a podcast, you don't have a YouTube channel, you feel uncomfortable on video, good. Now you see the opportunity for how you can get better. If only somebody had one of their top 5 resources on ways to launch a podcast or being better on camera, because side note, in August, Colin and I are going to be doing another masterclass all around, the language is not correct yet, how you can be better on your client calls, on camera, on webinars. What are the little nuances of energy that can help us be comfortable and shine? And once you step into this, man, it's the best thing in the world, where literally here's the process. What's the pain in the topic? Cool. I'm going to create a 10-minute video on this. I live stream it so that people see me. Ding, Rob. Doesn't even matter if anybody watches. Then from there, ChatGPT, Lighthouse process, strip the audio out of the video, which takes about 1 minute. There's the podcast. Colin's process there. 2 hours later, you've got 7 pieces of content, with one of them being SEO optimized for the organic reach that keeps getting more people coming back to you. Make sense? Is that something that everybody thinks that they could do? Like, is there anything that we shared today that was speaking hieroglyphics, or is it like, no, I can do this? And Colin, let's open this up to some Q&A right here at the end. Who's got a question? What's on your mind? You can use the little thumbs up thing if you want. Or if you have a comment, something you want to share, this is your opportunity here to either ask a question or contribute something for everybody else, because there's probably something on your mind that's on the mind of somebody else.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it, Rosario.
So, I mean, I've been part of this community now for a few weeks, and I found it to be incredibly powerful. So it's a bit of a share and also a question. So for me, the whole concept of starting with a video, I realized that I just started speaking into it, and then it's more comfortable for me to do the blog posts. So I didn't push myself to start being on camera and being on video first, but creating the blog post as part of that. And the question that I had around the how do you put the Lighthouse content out? For example, those short videos that you mentioned, Colin. I mean, how difficult is it to edit all that stuff? It just feels like it requires some technical abilities that maybe we haven't gotten into the community about that. I'm just gonna, that sounds to me a little bit, it felt a little bit like, oh no, I'm not gonna go into video editing.
You're always going to have that element of going into outside of your comfort zone. So remember, Rob and I have been doing this for a long time, right? A long time. So we've got a wealth of resources around this. My cousin's a filmmaker. He creates the videos for the Eurovision Song Contest, for the FIFA World Cup. And he did a training that's inside of the community around how you use this tool called CapCut. So there's an hour long, there's two 1 hour long trainings if you want to go deep on this. But honestly, I don't do any of the stuff that he taught us, right? I'm lazy with this. Like I'm like light, easy, and fun. So I go in to CapCut and this is what comes out. And I literally will just play it. You can see, no, you can't see my screen.
Can't see your screen.
Hold on, sorry. Right. So I go into CapCut and it creates, this has created 20 shorts of my latest video. I'll play it.
You need to know this for you. If you're not sure, you can ask AI.
And I don't do any more than click the video. I'll either export it and upload it directly into YouTube on a schedule, or if I'm on my phone, I'll upload it directly from the phone, or I'll just go into the video and you can click a button and it'll send it to TikTok or it'll send it to YouTube for you instantly. It's like, it's so easy. It's ridiculous.
So Colin, let me give the yes and answer to that. So Rosario, editing can be super simple. So I'm self-taught in all of this stuff. And the goal is not for each of us to be editors. So if we want to be unromantic about this, we really have a few options. Number one, hire someone to do it for us. Or number two, learn how to do it ourselves. Nice and simple. So you're like, all right, do I want to pay someone or not? And for a lot of us, it's like, I'm not ready to pay for someone to do this for me. All right, cool. Well, how hard is it to ... And Colin showed you the AI version of it. And there's levels to this game because the AI version is not optimized for the first 3 seconds. Because if we truly wanted to be world-class marketers, you would say, how do I best leverage short form content to maximize reach? Well, we all know the very first 3 seconds of anything is the most important part. So it could be like, here's 3 tips for overcoming overwhelm as a coach. Number 1, number 2, number 3. But AI right now has not quite gotten to that point yet. So you could leverage it to post content. But if you said, I want to get a world-class strategy, Rosario, what you could easily do is just record 60-second videos. And then once that's the case, all you do is drag a little thing and that's it. So editing takes no time. If you can drag a bar, just go start, stop, that's it. Everybody thinks it's hard.
I think I can do that. I can do that.
And you know me, so you would say, Rob, can you just show me in 4 minutes how to do what you do? And we'll just go. And Colin, I guess this is a good prompt for us to do a creative class in one of our sessions.
Definitely. And just to kind of round that out, the idea here is that you're not becoming a video editor. The goal is to keep you in that zone of genius, sharing that gift with the world. When you reach that point in your practice, these are all things that can be outsourced. And you can have editors run through this process. That's what I teach with my clients. I do it myself because I like the process. I like doing it, right? But my clients, they'll outsource this to editors and have them play through. I teach their editors how to run this process. And then they add their editing magic to the stuff. And it's like, it's fantastic. The goal here is for you to answer that question. What do my clients need to believe in order to say yes? And how are you showing up to create those connections, that pathos, that emotional connection through content? This content is better than no content. Would you agree? Right? It might not be best in class for its specific channel, but it's us putting ourselves out there in a way that's going to create that attraction, that magnetism for what it is that we do. That's the key.
Catherine, you had a question. I think you're still, or I'm not hearing you right now. Looks like you're off mute, but we're not hearing your audio.
Is that any better?
There you go.
I had to pick the right microphone, sorry. So my question was about authenticity. So, I guess I feel like a fraud sometimes when I'm using ChatGPT to create stuff for me, even though it might have partly come from me. How do you ensure you don't head away from, like, if someone asks me a question, I'm like, oh, that wasn't actually originally from me, and all of a sudden I've lost all my credibility. So it's kind of that balance, really.
Great question. Misplaced focus. And is the misplaced focus for everybody? Remember at the very beginning, what did I say? How do I turn $1 into $1.50? The fundamentals will what helps serve you. This is our creative assistant, not the one that creates for us. So because of this, we are creators. So we have an idea. There's so many possibilities for this. You can go ahead and create a brand that's only AI generated content. And I would say, all right, Catherine, where would it be okay for you to create AI generated content? Well, a very simple answer would be a Facebook post from your personal profile. And you're like, well, what would that be? I don't know. I'm going to go and search 20 motivational quotes about making today the best day. And then you just take each one of those, you go, do. Well, did AI create that or did you create it? No, you had the seed of creation and you said, create 20 quotes for me. And of course you're like, but Rob, I want to go deeper on all of this. There's blog post versus a video versus is it helping you with a script? I know people have written books for it and turned those into lead magnets. Let's not let the self-limiting belief of I'm all about authenticity be the thing that stops us, because you're not being inauthentic in this. Colin, anything to add to that?
Just what we've said all along. And this is why I keep emphasizing the energy. It's you that people connect to. It's you that people buy from. They don't buy stuff that's not generated by you, that's like empty and hollow. They buy the energy of you. So never lose that. This is our message for you with AI, is that AI amplifies you. It doesn't replace. It allows you to do more work, to go further with your clients, to go deeper, and to do everything bigger and better. That's the goal of this. So in everything that we're sharing, it's about not losing sight of that and making sure that it amplifies you.
Any final questions here before we bounce? And Tom asked a question. I just responded. Do you use ChatGPT because it was first? Is it irrelevant what AI you use? I've been using Claude. For me, it was a very simple thing. I used it the first week it was out in beta, and I saw ChatGPT as the Xerox of the industry. Yes, there's going to be new tools and shiny objects, but a lot of times people lose their focus on it. For me, ChatGPT passes the mom test. My mom knows what ChatGPT is. She does not know what Claude is. And it's likely the same for many of you. I don't need you to go into doing what Colin's doing just to say ChatGPT, ChatGPT. For me, I'm going to get good or great results, but I also know it's all about the execution. So I'm not going to trip about it. I'm going to let Colin go and geek out on all of the stuff and say, Rob, it's now time for you to do something else. But don't overthink it. And that for me is why I just kept using it, because everybody understands ChatGPT. So it's just branding 101.
Yeah, and there are use cases where Claude is better. If you're analyzing documents, Claude is stronger than Chat. If you're doing specific things, Gemini beats the other two. So, but as a standard, if you're just getting started, ChatGPT is arguably the Xerox standard in this field right now. So, and Sarah, you got your hands up with a question?
Yeah, it's kind of more of a statement, but it's in relation to the questions about, am I being authentic? Am I good at video editing? All of that kind of stuff. And like Rob, I'm self-taught, so I'll just sit and play with something until I figure it out. But the main thing is that for a while, delivering what I was delivering, we got fixated on, is the video good? Am I being authentic? And none of that matters. As soon as we realize that none of that matters, have I communicated to this person that I understand their pain and I have the solution? That is it. It doesn't matter what credentials I've got. It doesn't matter what my methodology is. It doesn't matter whether my video's got captions or not. Like, none of it matters. If we stand in the shoes of our clients and do the ICU, like, sort of output, then it doesn't matter how raw your video is. It doesn't matter how long or short it is. Have I communicated that I see you?
Sarah, this is the perfect example, and thank you for sharing this. And I do this to Colin all the time. If I am you, I cut out exactly what you said, and I turn that into a video because I could feel your energy, your heart, your wisdom. So you are teaching and showing who you are authentically just by doing that. So if each of you could just pop off and just do what Sarah did right there, that's what Colin and I are talking about. Sarah, was there anything hard about what you just said?
Yeah, I go red in the face when I say things that are like are my truth, but might be challenging for others. So I can always see when I'm struggling with like speaking publicly. So in sales calls, I go red when I know I'm challenging, but it's meaningful. So my skin always speaks for me. But yeah, speaking out about my own experience is always challenging, but I know it's aligned, so it feels true, and I can do it.
Well, it felt true to me. Colin, what about you?
It's the essence of what we're talking about. It's you standing in your truth, being that truest expression of self, and then translating that into how you show up into the world. Have you got those pieces of content out there that people can find their way to, and can then find their way to working with you as a result of? And it's those pieces of authentic content that we're encouraging you to create. We're not saying, hey, here's how to create 5,000 blog posts with AI here. We're saying, hey, here's how to amplify you. Here's how to put more of you out in the world. That's a world of difference, and it will make a world of difference in terms of results. Rob and I see it all day, every day. It makes all of the difference. So, and enjoy.
So, Colin, we're going to end on this. You said, talking about making a world of difference. And you and I both want to make a difference in everyone on this call's life right now. And hopefully we added a little bit of inspiration into you. And what we would love to do is, if you enjoyed this conversation, the people, the topics, we would love to have you join Unlimited. It's a community of entrepreneurs, coaches, creators, leaders, all building their business and life together. And it just so happens that the two main pillars are AI and self-development, but we're doing so in a very human-first, authentic manner, because at the core of all of this for us is connection. And we know that we can all rise together faster, further, and deeper with support from each other. Colin, anything else you want to add?
Just to echo what you said there, Rob, you know, this is very much human first, the person first. And when we take that approach in our business, we've seen that shift in our clients. And so that's what we're bringing to this community. And again, this isn't a sell. If it feels like something that you might want to explore, you'd be more than welcome to come. And I know we've got quite a few community members in the room already, right? But you'd be welcome to come and experience what the community is like firsthand. Just get a feel for it. Come and visit a session. We do this twice a week, every week. And we literally leave bouncing in our seats, ready to go and get after it in our businesses, because of the inspiration that we draw from each other, and the like staying on top of things, getting that clarity, and getting that energy to go out into the world and have that impact. So that's an open invitation if you'd like to attend a session to see what they're all about.
And Colin, where can everybody go if they are interested?
Well,
or
you just
QR code or
chat
something that they can see.
Yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? What if we had a QR code, Rob? That would be awesome. So if you're on a cell phone, you can just take a little point your camera at that QR code, and it'll take you to the page to actually sign up to Unlimited. If you wanted to attend as a guest, just reply to one of those reminder messages that you've had by email after you registered, and we'll hook you up with an invitation. Sessions are Monday at 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. EST, and Thursday, 2 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. EST. Have I got those US times right, Rob?
You got it.
There we go. So it's an open invitation, and I hope you've enjoyed the content today. This is the first of many to come.
Cool. And sending tons of good vibes to everybody. If you want to take yourselves off of mute, and we can, Colin, you can unshare your screen. We can all say goodbye to each other. So have a blessed day, and we hopefully will see you guys soon. Thanks for showing up.
So much.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys. Bye.
Bye.